Welcome to the Conservation Commission meeting of Wednesday, was it July 19th, 2023. The time is just after 6 o'clock. As the recent amendments to the open meeting law allow, the Conservation Commission will continue to hold meetings remotely. Adequate alternative access to the meetings is provided through the Zoom link. Please continue to check the posted meeting agendas, visit the city's calendars, and you'll be able to find the updated Zoom links and call-in information for upcoming meetings. I will start with a roll call of the Conservation Commissioners. Member Carpentier.
Here.
Member Cook.
Here.
Member Gradwell.
Barry, you're muted.
You're muted, Barry. You're muted.
You have to unmute yourself. We can't hear you at all. We see you talking, but we can't hear you. Barry.
Here.
There you are. All right. Member Sargent.
Here.
Member Viteri.
Here.
Member Gullah.
Here.
And Member Jackson.
Here. Sorry for the interruption.
All right, so we have a full panel tonight.
Okay. So first up is our administrative briefing. Anything to add to that, Chuck?
Besides the obvious, we have a new commission member Viteri, starting tonight. Otherwise, there is continued plover activity at Good Harbor Beach. Some birds still hanging around over at Wingersheek, but no nesting activity over there. So, and I think that's about it on my end for now.
Okay. Next up is the public comment period of the meeting. This is the part of the meeting where people are welcome to speak towards conservation issues that are not, I repeat, not on tonight's agenda. You may do so by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or handheld device.
We currently have 12 attendees, and I'm not seeing any hands up at this time.
Never mind. All right. Seeing none, hearing none, close public comment period. Next is minutes review and approval. We have June 7th and June 21st.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson moves to approve the minutes for June 7th, 2023 and June 21st, 2023 as amended.
Carpentier seconds.
Roll call on Member Charpentier.
Yes.
Member Cook.
Yes.
Member Gradwell.
Yes.
Member Sargent.
Yes.
Member Viteri.
Yes.
Member Gullah.
I'll abstain.
And Member Jackson.
Yes.
Next up would be the June 21st, 2023 minutes review and approval.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did both at once, Rob.
Oh, okay. Then we're all good. Next
Okay.
up would be continued business. We have notice of intent 0282929 156 Atlantic Street, the estate of Eileen M. Sheehan, construction of a single-family home, utilities and septic and riverfront area, buffer zone to coastal resource area, and land subject to coastal storm flowage. Benjamin Minix, representing of Eagle Brook Engineering. They are requesting a continuation to the meeting of 16/2023.
Commissioner Jackson moves to continue NOI 0282929 at 156 Atlantic Street to the Conservation Commission meeting of August 16th, 2023.
Carpentier seconds.
Roll call on Member Charpentier.
Yes.
Member Cook.
Yes.
Member Gradwell. You are muted.
Commissioner Vetter. if you-
Okay. It's going to mute all by itself.
Oh, sorry, cut that off.
Yes.
There we go.
Member Sargent.
Yes.
Member Viteri.
I abstain.
Member Gullah.
Abstaining as well. I mean, I'm sorry. Yep, yes. I'm confused.
and Member Jackson.
yes,
Okay. Next up is amendment 0282875, 8 Links Road, Patricia Johnson. Amendment to include installation of subsurface drainage pipes along driveway and buffer zone to BBW. Dan Ottenheim of Mill River Consulting is requesting to continue this to the meeting of 8/2/2023.
Commissioner Jackson moves to continue amendment 0282875 at 8 Links Road to the Conservation Commission meeting of August 2nd, 2023.
Carpentier seconds,
Call Member Carpentier,
yes,
Member Cook,
yes,
Member Gradwell,
yes,
Member Sargent,
yes,
Member Viteri,
abstain,
Member Gullah,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes,
Okay, next up is notice of intent 0282827, 105 Wingersheek Road, lots A and B, 125 Wingersheek LLC. Joel Pavazza at Seaside Legal Solutions PC representing. I assume they're moving to the next meeting.
yes. Commissioner Jackson moves to continue NOI 0282827 at 105 Wingersheek Road, lots A and B, to the Conservation Commission meeting of August 2nd, 2023. And I think you skipped 284 Atlantic Road, Rob. But we'll let Linda.
well, wait a minute. 284 Atlantic is requesting a continuance. Is Wingersheek
Yeah.
Road also requesting?
They both are, and Rob skipped to Wingersheek. So and that
Okay.
was the motion I made.
Okay, so, yes, Carpentier seconds,
Call Member Carpentier,
yes,
Member Cook,
yes,
Member Gradwell,
yes,
Member Sargent,
yes,
Member Viteri,
abstain,
Member Gullah,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes,
Okay, I apologize for my rustiness.
that's okay.
So are we set to 105? Is 105 all set as well?
105 is all set, but we haven't done 284 Atlantic yet.
Okay, so we're gonna get a motion to, the next project then would have been going backwards a little bit, notice of intent 0282884, 284 Atlantic Road, Stephen Klaus, construction of a retaining wall, existing yard, removal of deteriorated fieldstone wall and coastal bank. Coastal Bank, it is in Coastal Bank and land subject to coastal storm flowage. This one,
Commissioner,
yeah. is there-
go ahead.
Nope.
Commissioner Jackson moves to continue NOI 028 at their request to 884 to the Conservation Commission at 284 Atlantic Road to the Conservation Commission meeting of August 2nd, 2023.
Carpentier seconds,
Roll call Member Carpentier,
yes,
Member Cook,
yes,
Member Gradwell,
yes,
Member Sargent,
yes,
Member Viteri,
abstain,
Member Gullah,
Yes,
and Member Jackson.
Yes,
all right, sorry, I got my glasses on now everything looks pretty clear.
okay.
Okay, we're up to amendment, notice of intent, 280282833, 339R Nashua Avenue, Robert Stern, amendment to widen access road and buffer zone to coastal resource area and land subject to coastal storm flowage. Michael Fairby representing.
And we had a late request on that one to withdraw without prejudice.
Oh. Okay. Okay, Commissioner Jackson moves to withdraw without prejudice amendment NOI 0282833 at 39 Rear Nashua Avenue.
Carpentier seconds,
Roll call Member Carpentier,
yes,
Member Cook,
yes,
Member Gradwell,
yes,
Member Sargent,
yes,
Member Viteri,
abstain,
Member Gullah,
Yes,
and Member Jackson.
Yes,
okay, next up, for the record, I did review the information that was out there that I could access for 11 Wingershik Road and believe I'm up to date, so I can vote on this.
And Commissioner Cook has to recuse himself.
Excellent, okay, thank you. Okay, so notice of intent 0282927, 11 Wingershik Road, 11 Wingershik Road LLC to raise and rebuild existing dwelling with associated facilities, utilities, paver driveway, and elevated boardwalk in coastal dune and land subject to coastal storm flowage. John Judd of Gateway representative.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, John Judd, engineer with Gateway Consultants, representing the applicant at 11 Wingershik Road. Just a brief recap. This is a proposed removal and reconstruction of an existing dwelling. And thank you, Chuck, for bringing up the plan. As you know, we've had several meetings, 2 in May and 2 in June. I'm sorry, 1 in June on the 21st. To describe this project, and we've made several revisions since. At the last meeting, there was some questions on the dune delineation and the FEMA firm velocity zone delineation. So after that meeting, we subsequently had a site walk that would myself, Chuck, and also Bill Manuel were out there. And I believe we've address Chuck's concerns on those items, but I'll let him speak to that. But I do want to point out a couple of items that were additionally added or provided by the applicant. They requested that we further offset the proposed dwelling further away from the beach. So that has been moved back an additional 5 feet. So this has been a total of 10 feet removed from the proposed structure, which is going to be on piers that would have at least 2 feet throughout the whole structure. Often throughout this property, it's going to be closer to 7 feet in several locations, whereas the existing house is right on the actually within the velocity zone and as shown on the plan, and also very close to the coastal dune. So we're pulling that back, and the actual structure would be from where it is now 27 feet further landward than the existing structure, as well as being on piers. So quite a bit of modifications have taken place over the last couple of months, and I think I've covered everything. I know there may be some more questions, but we'd be happy to answer any questions. And I believe Bill might be in attendance if there's any questions on the coastal dune. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Judd. First up, then I'll open up for public comment. Anybody in the public who wishes to speak for or against the project at 11 Wingershik Road may do so by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or handheld device.
We currently have 13 attendees present, and I'm not seeing any hands up at this time.
Hearing none, close the public comment period. Next up would be Commissioner roll call comments.
Member Charpentier,
No comments.
Member Gredwall,
No comment.
Member Sargent,
Thank you for the meaningful revisions. I'd like a 2-year monitoring for the mortality mitigation plantings.
Member Viteri,
I'm abstaining.
Member Villa,
I too want to thank them for the meaningful changes in the project. It's come a long way. Thank you.
and Member Jackson.
I also would like to thank them for the changes and to thank you for doing that last site visit. It was appreciated, Chuck. I would like to hear from you. I know you had concern about the lines, the flood lines, the primary frontal dune lines, and the explanations for meeting the performance standards. Where are you on those subjects at this point?
Yeah, I also want to thank John for redesigning, and we do have the VE zone shown properly. I want to reiterate that for this project and any project going forward, that showing that VE zone properly is going to be very important going forward with the new floodplain overlay district. So that's going to be something I'm going to be looking at on every project, not just this one. The delineation of the coastal dune, still was not a true delineation per the coastal manual, but I do believe that the house has moved far enough back that I'm not concerned with the house being in that resource area. So I'm comfortable with that. I do want to reiterate, though, that when projects are proposed so close to these resources, those are the times when doing the actual proper delineations, following the methodology, and sometimes doing the math. I'm going to be requesting that because I think that's in the best interest of the commission to have the information, and also the best interest for the resources for the protection. So, the closer things are proposed to these resource areas, I'm going to look at them a lot closer. That being said, I'm content with what's being proposed now. I did have some concerns for that dune on the western side of the house. But after looking at that a little bit closer, it's a pretty small dune and is likely more of an artifact of work that was at the adjacent house, probably pushing sand up to create a slightly higher dune. But the size of it is so small that, I'm not too concerned with the migration under the garage at the elevation that it's given. So I think with the revisions that have been made, I'm happy with what's being proposed now.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate those thoughts, Chuck.
And then if no one else has any more comments, do you want to close the public hearing?
Sure. Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing for NOI 0282927 at 11 Winger Sheep Road.
Charpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier.
Yes.
Member Cook. Thank you, Member Gradwell.
Yep.
yes,
Member Sargent.
Yes,
Member Viteri.
Abstain.
Member Gullah.
Yes.
And Member Jackson.
Yes. Commissioner Jackson moves to approve NOI 0282927 at 11 Winger Sheep Road.
Charpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier.
Yes.
Member Cook. Oh, sorry, Member Gradwell.
yes,
Member Sargent.
yes,
Member Viteri.
Abstain.
Member Gullah.
Yes.
And Member Jackson.
Yes.
Thank you all very much, and thank you, Chuck, for your patience with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
Okay,
night.
for the record, Commissioner Cook has returned.
Welcome back, Bill. Next up is amendment 0282798, 31 Eastern Point Road, David and Deborah Schwartz. Amendment 0282798 to include installation of a sport court, plantings, buffer zone to coastal bank. Joshua Wilzall, GZA Environmental Inc. was representing. At this time, they want to request to withdraw without prejudice.
Commissioner Jackson moves to withdraw without prejudice Amendment 0282798 at 31 Eastern Point Road.
Ms. Charpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier.
Yes.
Member Cook.
Yes,
Member Gradwell.
yes,
Member Sargent.
yes,
Member Viteri.
Abstain.
Member Gullah.
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, moving along. Notice of intent 0282931, 30 Grapevine Road, Rob Cullinane. Addition to a single-family house, new garage with living space, relocation of shed, installation of a pervious driveway in buffer to BVW. Rob Cullinane representing himself.
And he had a late request to continue to the meeting of August 2nd.
Commissioner Jackson moves to continue NOI 0282931 at 30 Grapevine Road to the Conservation Commission meeting of August 2nd, 2023.
Charpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
yes,
Member Cook,
yes,
Member Gradwell,
yes,
Member Sergeant,
yes,
Member Viteri,
abstain,
Member Villa,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
yes,
Okay, so that's old business. We're into new business. We have notice of intent 028-2934, 5 Grapevine Road, Susan Ward, to raise single-family house patio and shed, rebuild single-family house with porch and carport in buffer zone to BBW. John Judd at Gateway Consultants, Inc. is requesting to continue to the meeting of August 2nd, 2023.
Commissioner Jackson moves to continue NOI 028-2934 at 5 Grapevine Road to the Conservation Commission meeting of August 2nd, 2023.
Charpentier seconds,
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
yes,
Member Cook,
yes,
Member Gradwell,
yes,
Member Sergeant,
yes,
Member Viteri,
yes,
Member Villa,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes,
Okay. Moving on, we're looking at extension 0282728 Gloucester, number 24 substation, the rebuild project, National Grid, Hannah Radis at the BSC Group representing. I'm sorry for butchering your name.
Well, if you did, I didn't hear it because my computer was loading up.
How do you pronounce it?
Raditz. It's like rabbits, but with D's, like bunny rabbits.
Oh, Rabbit. Okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
For the record, my name is Hannah Raditz, wetland scientist with BSC. We've got a simple request in front of you all tonight. This project is associated with the rebuild, upgrade, and expansion within the existing limits of the substation, Gloucester 24 substation. Due to various delays in the production, getting materials, certain activities on the site, the applicant is requesting a 3-year extension. I understand that the Gloucester Conservation Commission typically only issues 1-year extensions, but just to save everyone some time, we're anticipating the schedule is going to be pushing into 2025, and potentially could go all the way, especially with things happening, inclement weather. This project goes on constantly. It's currently in a phase of rest because there is an outage that they're waiting for. The next phase of the project is to demolish and replace the existing transformer. For that, they need an outage, obviously. So once that starts up, they'll be able to continue with work. I've got a list of what's remaining on the site, but essentially it just has to do with installing the new transformers, various connections to the upcoming buildings, work within the site to remove underground cable, testing connections, and then finally restoration, which is anticipated over the winter and spring of 2025. I believe I covered all the important points, but I will open up to the commissioners to ask any questions.
Okay, first up would be public comment period. Anyone in the public wish to speak for or against the extension permit for Gloucester number 24 substation rebuild project may do so by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or handheld device.
We currently have 10 attendees and there are no hands up at this time.
Okay, seeing none, hearing none, I'll close the public comment period. I guess we move to commissioner roll call comments.
Before we start with the commissioner comments, I just would like to add that Hannah has been very good about promptly and regularly sending updates on the project status, which is very appreciated. Doesn't always happen with projects that are supposed to do that. And I just want it noted that that's being done very well in this project. So I'm fine with it continuing on a longer extension. But we will start with the commissioner comments. Commissioner Charpentier.
Yeah, I'm concerned about a 3-year plan here. I think it's going to set a precedent as soon as we do that. And I don't see any, large expenditure of time for somebody to come in on an annual basis and say, in 2-3 minutes, this is where we are with the project, and this is now the anticipated endpoint.
Member Cook?
Yeah, I understand with everything that's been going on. So I understand some of the supply chain issues that they're dealing with and will probably continue to deal with. So I actually have no problem with the 3-year.
Member Gradwell?
I have no problem with the 3-year. And there's always a compromise of 2 years.
Member Sergeant?
No comment.
Member Lettieri?
I'm not generally familiar with the practice of this commission for, the number of years, but given the expiration in September of this year, and an expectation from the applicant that the work is scheduled to be completed by early of 2025, I would support a 2-year extension. I would also have no objection to a 3-year extension.
Member Gilla?
I would like a 2-year extension if possible, if the applicant would be willing. I agree with Ms. Charpentier, Commissioner Charpentier, that it doesn't take a lot, especially Zoom, to just keep us in the loop a little more. It's just sensitive, not a very sensitive area in terms of resource, but I still would like some eyes coming back to us. We've lost projects in the past, meaning we don't know where they are sometimes for very long periods of time. This would be one I'd like to see in 2 years if possible.
Member Jackson?
I don't have any problem with the 3 years, generally speaking. I would also support a 2-year one. However, I think any exception to our usual policy of 1 year requires some substantiation as to why we're doing it, which in this case has been frequent updates, and we would expect frequent updates to continue. And the fact that it is a public utility that has worked effectively with us in the past. I do think it needs to be substantiated if we deviate.
So with that, are you okay with us moving into a 2-year?
If the 2 years what the commission is willing to agree on, we can work with that, and we'll of course continue to comply with the order of conditions to give monthly updates to the conservation department. And in addition, there's no changes to the scope. It's just been delayed. So there's nothing new going on.
Understood. We thank you. Okay, then. Commissioner Jackson moves for a 2-year extension for EXT 0282728 at Gloucester number 24 substation rebuild project.
Carpentier seconds?
Member Charpentier?
Yes?
Member Cook?
Yes,
Member Gradwell?
Yes,
Member Sergeant?
Yes,
Member Lettieri?
Yes,
Member Gilla?
Yes.
And Member Jackson?
Yes,
for the record, did we have do we have to close a public hearing?
I opened it,
Oh.
for this.
the public hearing. Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing. Thank you, Bill, for EXT 0282728 at Gloucester number 24 substation rebuild project.
Carpentier seconds?
Roll call, Member Charpentier?
Yes?
Member Cook?
Yes,
Member Gradwell?
yes,
Member Sergeant?
yes,
Member Lettieri?
yes,
Member Gilla?
Yes,
Member Jackson?
Yes,
okay. We look forward to seeing you in a couple of years.
Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it.
thank you.
thank you, Hannah.
Next up, extension 0282722 165 Atlantic Road, Lot 4, Melanson Development. Will Sakata of Morin Group, Inc. representing.
Wills to be promoting now.
Morin Cameron Group, I should say.
Hi, good evening. Will Scooter from the Morin Cameron Group here on behalf of Melanson Development. We're just here to hopefully extend the order of conditions for 165 Atlantic Road, which was lot 4 of the development as a whole. More or less, all the earthwork and grading and infrastructure has been completed on this project. We're extending the order more or less for final landscaping, loam and seed, and just the minor details within the buffer zone. Otherwise, the project's more or less fully built out and they're just interior works going on and finish work on the building.
Okay, so 1 year works for you?
Yep, 1 year. The hope is to get this thing punched out in the next couple months, but obviously with it expiring tomorrow, we just need a 1 year extension.
Good boy. Okay. Well,
Okay.
our public comment, does anybody in the public wish to speak for or against the extension of 0282722 165 Atlantic Road, Lot 4, may do so by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or a handheld device.
We currently have 10 attendees and there are no hands up at this time.
Seeing none, hearing none, close public comment period. I guess we can move to the vote.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public
Do
hearing.
the
for-
commissioners get to say anything?
Oh, yes. Rob, Commissioner comments? Thank you, Bill.
Yeah. 1
Not
year,
tonight, Bill.
please, roll call comments, Chuck. Sorry about that.
Member Charpentier,
No comments.
Member Cook,
Yeah, now that we're talking about extensions, I think in this case, we need to grant the 2-year extension. If they need to finish the landscaping and do the planting, we have a 2-year moratorium on the plantings. So I don't think a 1-year extension would be adequate, but that's my opinion.
Okay. Good call.
Good.
Barry,
Gradwell, no comment.
Member Sargent,
No comment.
Member Terry,
No comment.
Member Gullah,
well, we're gonna have to address exactly what Bill, I think, said, but no comment at this time.
Member Jackson.
I agree with half of what Mr. Cook said. I was just thinking that we would not issue the certificate of compliance until we had seen that the landscaping was thriving. I don't know how it goes in regulations, whether we need to give them a 2-year extension or whether we can hold off the order of conditions.
What do you think we should do, Chuck?
Have none of the mitigation plantings been planted yet?
So just for clarification, this is lot 4, which is on Atlantic Road frontage. There was no mitigation plantings per se for this lot. When I meant landscaping, it's just more or less going to be lawn and some plantings, bushes, flowers, things like that. Lot 5, which is behind this lot, is where all the mitigation plantings and the wetland restoration took place. So this is just kind of typical landscaping, as in grass and bushes and things like that.
So there's no mitigation plantings in your order of conditions?
For this one.
Correct, not on this lot.
Okay. All right,
So I guess we can move ahead with that. Is that okay?
okay.
Are you okay with that, Bill?
Yep, I'm fine with that.
Excellent.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing for EXT 0282722 at 165 Atlantic Road, Lot 4.
Carpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes,
Member Gradwell,
Yes,
Member Materi,
Yes.
Member Gullah,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes. Commissioner Jackson moves to approve a 1-year extension for EXT 0282722 at 165 Atlantic Road, Lot 4.
Carpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Cook,
yes,
Gradwell,
yes,
Sargent,
Yes,
Member Materi,
Yes.
Member Gullah,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, so you're all set.
Great, thank you.
Have a good night. Okay, next up is RDA 1773 436 Washington Street, Cody Atten for representing for the owner. removal of vegetation, installation of a natural playground and path and riverfront area and buffer zone to coastal resource area. Cody Atten, represent.
Not seeing Cody on the attendee list. I don't know if somebody else is present to represent this project. If so, please raise your hand.
I don't see him either.
Well,
Chuck, have you been out there recently?
I drove past it the other day. I know they did take down a dead tree that's kind of extending over towards the parking lot. I did give them permission to do that. They had a volunteer group that was going to be donating some time to do some work over there. So I kind of let them start with that, and then removing some of the non-native ivy over there. I did contact him earlier this week with the information, or last week. But we will, I guess.
Did you
Yeah,
actually him, or did you just push some paperwork to him?
What's that?
Did you have a conversation with him, or did you just send some had some emails?
Oh, I met him out on the site originally and walked through the site with him.
All right, I was buying him some time, but I don't see him still.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob, Devin had gotten in touch with us that he'd gotten some dates mixed up. Excuse me, and he had these volunteers who wanted to remove the invasive vines. He had them coming. And that's what Chuck was referring to. And we said he could remove the invasive vines because he was supposed to be showing up at that following meeting. He hasn't shown up since. I would almost indicate that he's under a violation notice if he doesn't show up.
Yeah, I'll let him know that he shouldn't continue anything out there until he shows up to a meeting.
Yeah, please.
We might want to, again, you guys have better knowledge of this one than I do. Should we give them, table them to the end for now?
We could, yeah.
Why don't we just table it, see if he shows up?
Okay,
Seem to
I wouldn't
moving.
be optimistic.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll move on to RDA 1782 52 Commercial Street, Mine Management Group, Unique, LLC, construction of a handicap ramp and land subject to coastal storm flowage, which, as we all know, really doesn't have any goals.
I'm not seeing Monty Rome on the attendee list. I don't know if there's somebody else out there that is representing this project. Please raise your hand if so.
Yeah,
Table this one too for now. I don't know.
Yep. Let's move on.
right along then. There are no performance standards for that, so it would have been pretty easy to get off our plate, but not gonna happen. Next up is RDA 1783 34 Rockport Road, Unit 7, Scott and Lisa Bucker, construction of a deck in land subject to coastal storm flowage and buffer to coastal resource area. Dean Bliss of the Bliss Company representing.
Dean is promoting to a panelist now.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Dean Bliss from the Bliss Company General Contractors.
Thank you, sir. Just give us a brief description of your project.
Well, the homeowners would like to increase the size of an existing deck that's 6 feet wide and about 1.5 feet deep. So it's really can't put a chair out. It's right there, yep. And in doing so, we need to have 2 legs, 2 posts. So therefore, 2 footings. There it is. Just want to make it a little bigger, 3 feet one way, 5 feet another way, make it 10 by 6.5. There you go. Thank you for your photo. So we really need to have 2 posts underneath it. And I propose to do it in such a way that it matches the existing architecture.
Excellent, okay, thank you. So next up would be to open up for public comment. If anybody wishes to speak for or against the project at 34 Rockport Road, Unit 7, you may do so by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or handheld device.
We currently have 8 attendees and there are no hands up at this time.
Seeing none, hearing none, I close the public comment period. Next up will be commissioner roll call comments.
Member Charpentier,
No comments.
Member Cook,
Just want to confirm that the new deck will be pervious, that's all.
Member Goodall,
No comment.
Member Sargent,
My question was the same as Mr. Cook's.
Member Viteri,
Yeah, I noticed in the approval letter from the homeowners association that there's a comment that if the applicant can consult with the contractor or structural engineer to determine the feasibility of cantilevering the deck rather than using support pillars. Has that inquiry been made? And if so, what was the result of that? Was there a determination made about cantilevering?
Well, I consulted with my structural engineer and he determined that was not feasible to cantilever it because, of course, a cantilever is 1/3 out overhanging and 2/3 in. So any joists or structure that I would have to install, I'd have to take the ceiling out of the house. I'd have to take the joist would have to go in 2/3 of 6, so that's 12 feet inside the house to rest on the wall. And if I put a bracket or a 45-degree support bracket, the wall is only a 2x4 wall. It's really not designed to have that kind of load hanging off of it. The one option is to have a post that goes down to the foundation. So it'd be on a 30-degree angle, 30-60 triangle approximately. That's feasible. We just thought that there are other decks on the, in the vicinity that do this exact same thing. They come out and they have 2 posts and they're wrapped in shingles and they're painted gray and white trim and they look, that's the architecture of the structures. So we just thought this would match the existing better than adding an angled post.
Understood. Thank you, sir.
Member Goodall,
I don't have I would just ask for mitigation for the 2 posts, get a couple of shrubs or shrubbery around the bottom of each post, but other than that, I don't see a big deal here for me.
I was just going to add about the shrubbery. Well, we want to do that. We're not sure if right there underneath the deck's the proper place for it. There are other places on the property that the plantings might benefit better. That happens to be one place where the snow gets built up in the winter. So it's sort of a no man's land right there. So, but we are going to do some plantings.
Okay. So typically 2 to 1, so we need 4 shrubs or something of that nature, or trees ideally, but we don't want to put them in a place if the board chooses to do that, where they're going to get damaged and destroyed, so. But
well, as I said, there are other areas right there that trees or shrubs would be great for.
okay, who's after me, Chuck? Yeah, I think it's Andrew.
Member Dyson,
No, my comments got taken up by Mr. Viteri and Mr. Gullah, so I'm happy.
and we still had the question about the permeability of the deck.
So water will be able to go through the deck, sir, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. So it will be permeable. Okay. Anything else, commissioners? 4 shrubs enough? Everybody good with that?
Yep.
So I guess we should move to close the hearing.
Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing for RDA 1783 at 34 Rockport Road, Unit 7.
Charpentier seconds,
Roll call, member Charpentier,
yes,
member Cook,
Yes,
member Gradwell,
yes,
member Sargent,
yes,
member Viteri,
Yes,
member Bella,
Yes,
member Jackson.
Yes. Commissioner Jackson moves for a negative determination for RDA 1783 at 34 Rockport Road, Unit 7, with the condition of mitigation for 4 shrubs, that the deck is pervious. And I think that was it.
Charpentier seconds,
Roll call, member Charpentier,
yes,
member Cook,
yes,
member Gradwell,
yes,
member Sargent,
yes,
member Viteri,
yes,
member Bella,
yes.
and member Jackson.
Yes.
You're all set, sir.
Thank you and good evening.
You have a good night too. Okay, next up. That was Commercial Street, right? We're up to 34 Rockport Road. No, we just,
That was 34.
Yeah, 220 Atlantic.
okay, sorry. I thought someone was coming in. Yeah, 220 Atlantic, RDA 1784, 220 Atlantic Street. Scout Atlantic LLC install water service in buffer zone to an intermittent stream. George Zambora representing. Zamboras.
Yes,
Name and address,
for the
please.
record, George Zamboris for the engineer for the project for the applicant, Scout Atlantic LLC. This project, believe it's a fairly simple one for you. The bulk of the parcel is outside the buffer zone, and the portion of the work that's going to be handled under this RDA is to install 65 feet of water service, approximately 65 feet water service. On the southerly side of Atlantic Street, there's the bank to an intermittent stream, which is subject to an ORAD decision back of May of last year. The water main and service stub that we'll be tying into is from a notice of intent that was filed October last year. So this is just to extend that service up to the lot. As I said, it's about 65 feet of 1-inch copper pipe, trench about 5 feet deep. We'll install silt socks right near our excavation and on the southerly side of Atlantic at the edge of the pavement. And the work probably will take all of 1 day, if that. I mean, half the day probably to excavate the trench and probably another half a day to restore the area. It's partly pavement and part is a gravel stoned roadway of Georgine Circle.
First up is to open up the public comment. Anybody in the public who wishes to speak against the project at 220 Atlantic Street may do so by hitting the raise your hand button on your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or handheld device.
We currently have 7 attendees present and there are no hands up.
Seeing none, hearing none, close public comment period. Go to Commissioner roll call.
Member Charpentier,
no comments, very straightforward.
member Cook,
no comments.
member Gradwell,
no comment,
member Sargent,
yes, any dewatering that needs to take place should be adequately treated before being discharged.
We don't anticipate any. There's been other excavations in the area. We have plenty of test pits from the proposed septic systems on site. All the test pits were a minimum of 8 feet deep. There was no water encountered in any of them.
But in case you do, I'd like it,
In
treated.
case if we do, we will bring in a silt bag and run the discharge through the silt bag.
member Viteri,
it looks like it on the plan, but can you confirm that the work area is entirely within the right of way or the roadway footprint?
It is Yes, it is. If you look at the plan where it says driveway and access easement, that's actually a sliver of the 220 Atlantic, which runs down the edge of Georgine Circle into Atlantic. That's part of the lot. We're just outside that into Georgine Circle.
Okay, thank you.
Bill?
Yeah, there are no catch basins in the area.
I do not believe so.
If there are any, can you silt sock or wrap the, the grate?
Absolutely, we will install them. I do not believe there are any, but if there, we'll double check before we start construction.
Excellent, thank you.
Member Jackson?
No further comments.
Okay, anything Chuck to add or this?
Nope, I think this one's fairly straightforward.
Okay, let's move to close the hearing.
Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing for RDA 1784 at 220 Atlantic Street.
Carpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier.
Yes.
Member Cook.
Yes,
Member Grable.
yes,
Member Sargent.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes,
Member Villa.
Yes,
Member Jackson.
Yes. Commissioner Jackson moves for a negative determination for RDA 1784 at 220 Atlantic Street with the conditions that if any dewatering is encountered, it be treated prior to discharge and any catch basins on site will be protected during the project.
Carpentier seconds.
Call, Member Charpentier.
Yes.
Member Cook.
yes,
Member Grable.
yes,
Member Sargent.
Yes.
Member Terry.
yes,
Member Villa.
yes,
And Member Jackson.
Yes.
good. You're all set, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Next up, RDA, which one's this? I'm sorry. We're at amendments, correct? We just did RDA.
No, we need 226 Atlantic Street, Rob.
Okay, I see it now. You gotta remind me to put the last one out of the keep getting. RDA 1785 226 Atlantic Street, Scout Atlantic LLC, construction of a residential driveway and utilities and buffer zone to intermittent stream BBW. Oh, we just did it. Oh, it's another one for the same gentleman. That's what.
Yes.
Gotcha. Name and address for the record, sir.
Yes, for the record, George Zamboris, engineer for the project on behalf of the applicant. This is for similar RDA, similar work, a little bit more than just a water service. This is the next lot down about 100 feet to the right. Again, you have the bank to the intermittent stream across the street, and also on the easterly side of Georgine Circle, you have the edges of a bordering vegetated wetland. This one here, about 75 feet off the edge of the roadway, is where the 100-foot buffer lies. And what we're proposing to do is install a gravel driveway, approximately 12 feet wide, gravel in stone. There will be some minor grading that's required. We start from zero, and by the time we hit the buffer zone, we're filling approximately 2 feet, not quite 2 feet. The whole area is all beach sand, as you probably know. We will be on the right-hand side of the driveway. We'll be installing a 1-inch water service tied into the water main that is yet to be installed on Atlantic Street. And on the left-hand side, we'll be putting a 1 1/4 electrical conduit that for 2 post lamps that will be installed on top of landscape walls to highlight the entrance to the driveway. In addition to that, right near the right property line, there is a dead 10-inch pine tree that we are looking at for approval to remove. And about three quarters of the way, half the way up on the left-hand side, there's a twin white oak The lead is, it's a 17-inch and a 15-inch leader. The 15-inch lead is listing severely to the west. And for safety reasons, before it falls on the house next door, the applicant would like to remove it. What we plan on doing, unfortunately, we did not have it ready at this time. We do plan to replace a minimum of 6 trees within this buffer zone alongside the edge of the roadway and in the lot in this area to compensate for the 2 trees that we're taking down. And right, and that's it.
I'll open
Any
up for
questions?
comment. Does anybody in the public wish to speak for or against 226 Atlantic Street? May do so by hitting your raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or handheld device.
We currently have 6 attendees and there are currently no hands up.
Okay. Hearing none, I'll close the public comment period. We'll move on to roll call comments from commissioners.
Member Charpentier,
I have no comments.
Member Cook,
No comments.
Member Gretel,
No comment.
Member Sargent.
Yes, I want to make sure that the trees are native variety. And again, all dewatering must be adequately treated before being discharged. And I would like a 2-year monitoring for the mortality of the mitigation plantings.
That is fine.
Member Viteri,
Yeah. First, I think the mitigation trees should be shown on the plan. It doesn't look like they are now. I also have an issue. I have a concern about the silt barrier on the southern side of Atlantic Street, across the street. It looks like the contours and the slope goes a little bit towards the southeast, I believe. And I'm wondering if any stormwater or anything might carry sediment beyond the extent of the silt barrier as is shown on the plan. Well, particularly if you look towards wetland flag B6. I'm just wondering if it's makes sense to wrap the silt barrier sort of around flag B6 and follow the contour of the intermittent stream, just to make sure that any flowing water that might follow the slope down in that direction doesn't go around the silt barrier as it's shown on the plan.
We can do that. I mean, the intent of the silt barrier across the street really is for the initial phase of the work, which is basically the tie into the water main for the water service and the very edge of the work of the driveway right by the edge of the roadway. That's the only time we actually need that silt barrier on the southerly side of Atlantic. Once we're into the lot, we're encasing all our work with a silt barrier, but we'll be more than happy to extend that down and around the corner of that driveway. I mean, that driveway falls off fairly steeply going down in the southerly direction. If you see the 2 lines that are down below that intermittent stream, that's I believe it's a drainage pipe or a culvert that crosses below the roadway. At that point there, the roadway is probably 3 to 4 feet lower. I don't have the grades at that point there, but we can easily extend that around the corner if that's the wishes.
I also just generally have a concern that this is a larger kind of impact on the area than the last project. Let's say a 12-foot wide driveway for 75 feet. That's approaching 1,000 square feet, I think, of impact. So I just want to throw out that out there for consideration.
Member Gola,
Well, I have some of the same concerns. I'm really concerned about the intermittent stream, just because if anything ever washes in there in a storm events, right now we're getting a lot of rain. I am worried once that happens, you can't fix that. If any material gets in there, you can't just take it out. It's a problem. So, and I also agree with Peter that it would be better to have all the stuff on the drawings. I'm not sure if our jurisdiction only ends about 20, 30 feet up the road, up the driveway. But I think if we can get a little more documentation on the site, on the tree locations and what the trees are, I think I would be in that we have the silt set up that we can, sure, if we get a heavy rain event where some soil is left, will not wash into that intermittent stream. Even though I know it's like a drainage ditch, it's still an intermittent stream on the paper, so. I don't know how anyone else feels, but I wouldn't mind some cleanup done on this, and we can get it to the top of the list on, at the next meeting. That's my. Next.
We can easily add all that to the plans and bring it back to you at the next meeting.
Who's up?
Member Jackson?
You're breaking up, Chuck.
Member Jackson?
Okay. I would just like a little clarification. At some point in your plan, it was mentioned that the driveway required the removal of several choke cherries and pines and 3 larger trees, which planting 6 native trees is fine for the 3 larger trees. But could you just tell me, when you talk about the choke cherries and the pines, how large are they? And is it 3 or 2 larger trees that are being removed?
There's a double leader oak
Okay.
and I'm sorry, excuse me.
Oh, okay.
This is automatic slide screen door that just slammed shut.
That's
In
fine.
a dead 10-inch white pine.
Okay. How big are these choke cherries pines? Are they-
They're just scrub trees. It's almost like brush. They're inch and a half. I mean, and
Okay.
just right near the entrance, there's really just overgrown saplings and everything that are all in front of the roadway.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. That's all my comments. So we're going to continue this to the meeting of August 2nd. Is
Yeah,
that accurate?
yeah, I would like to see just again, Mr. Zimboris, if we could show us the trees on size and location of all the trees that you're going to place in a little bit more detail, closer to what fellow Commissioner Bedard said about, making the silt stock bend around a little bit. Capture as much as you can in that area to protect that intermittent stream is basically it. Normally we wouldn't be too concerned, but we are getting these weird deluges of water and then nothing and then a lot of water. And if you get caught in one of those storms, the soils are going to go everywhere. So we'll see you in 2 weeks. Is that okay?
That is fine because we plan on having an NOI for the next lot over 226 ready for that meeting also.
So why don't you apply the same thinking there?
Pardon me?
You might want to apply the same thinking. What we said here might be important to bring there, is what I'm getting.
Yes.
Okay, then. Commissioner Jackson
Can you
moves
just
to
clarify
continue.
something?
Oh, sure.
Just real quick. I mean, this was 226 that we were talking about, and you just said you're having an NOI for 226?
I'm sorry, 228.
Oh, okay.
Wrong number, I'm sorry.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that.
I was just going to go by it. Okay. Commissioner Jackson moves to continue RDA 1785 at 226 Atlantic Street to the Conservation Commission meeting of August 2nd, 2023.
Carpentier seconds,
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
yes,
Member Cook,
Yes,
Member Gradwell,
Yes,
Member Sargent,
Yes.
Member Materi,
Yes.
Member Villa,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes.
You're all set, sir. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up is amendment 0282684, 37 Dollar Neck Drive. John and Casey Card, installation of a subsurface conduit in buffered zone to Coastal Bank. John Jutta, Gateway Consultants, Inc., representing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. For the record, John Judd, representing the Picards for this application to amend an order of conditions, which is existing for an existing renovation of existing house and with associated utilities. We did come before the board with amendments in the past for this utility connection. And the reason we're here now is because National Grid has come up with this latest route because there's been some legal issues about crossing the abutters property at number 33. So this is the route that they have come up with, keeping all proposed work on this the owner of this property on their land. So essentially, as Chuck has pointed out with the cursor, it's going to be coming along. That's the proposal, that route there. The work is in the buffer zone to the marsh and the coastal bank as shown. And there's quite a few oaks there that we're trying to avoid. We've gone out there a few times, staked it out, and the arborist is confident that they can excavate this and properly trim the roots and install this the conduits needed without permanently damaging those trees as shown. So you can see this sort of a curved route to it, and we've located all the oaks there. And the intent of the owner is to maintain those and make sure that they survive and thrive in the future, while at the same time giving themselves adequate electricity. So that is the proposal, is to amend what was previously approved up the driveway to show this route, because that is the route that National Grid has selected. And I can answer any questions you might have.
Okay, first up, I'll open up for public comment. Anybody in the public who wishes to speak for or against the amendment at $37 next drive may do so by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or handheld device.
We currently have 4 attendees and there are no hands up.
Seeing none, hearing none, close public comment period. Next up would be Commissioner roll call comment.
Member Charpentier,
No comment.
Member Cook,
No comments.
Member Gradwell. Member Gradwell, you're muted.
He is muted. But I did hear him say no comment.
Oh,
I didn't see him say.
No comment.
There it.
Member Sargent.
Yes, you said the trees, roots are gonna be trimmed, and I'm hoping that they're not impacted, but these are mature trees. And I think it may be beneficial to have an arborist monitor these trees for 2 years to make sure there's not any adverse impact from the pruning of the roots.
Member Terry.
No comment.
Member Gullah
No comments.
and Member Jackson.
No comment, no further comment.
Okay, with that, Chuck, anything to add? This looks like it's driven by National Grid, so
Yeah, no, I just had the same
third time, I think.
Member Sargent had. What's that?
I think it's the third time too that they've readjusted it on them, so I'm not surprised. Okay, so you want to close the hearing, Joe?
Sure. Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing for amendment 0182684 at $37 Neck Drive.
Charpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes.
Member Gradwell,
Yes.
Member Sargent,
Yes,
Member Viteri,
Yes.
Member Gullah,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes. Commissioner Jackson moves to approve amendment 0182684 at $37 Neck Drive with the additional condition that an arborist monitor the work, the trees where the work is being done for a period of 2 years.
Charpentier seconds.
Would these trees be replaced if found to be?
Yes, I mean, that's the will of the commission, you know. Well, I'll let them know whatever the condition is that they're gonna have to abide by.
I think it should be 2-to-1 replacement, which is our usual tree replacement mitigation.
Yeah, they're gonna take great care. They've looked at this route, but yes, they'll accept that condition.
Okay,
Yeah, the arborist can manage some of that as well, I would think.
Right.
Hear a report from him than anyone else for that matter. Okay.
Member Charpentier,
No comments.
no, we're voting.
Oh, we're voting now.
I interrupted it in an
A little thrown off here by the rhythm here.
Sorry about that.
We're voting? Yes.
Yes,
Why don't you start over, and Joe, so we can. reset.
okay, Commissioner Jackson moves to, I've closed the public hearing. Commissioner Jackson moves to approve amendment 0182684 at $37 Neck Drive with the additional condition that an arborist will monitor the trees in the work area for 2 years. And the applicant will provide a 2-to-1 replacement for any tree mortality.
Charpentier seconds?
Roll call, Member Carpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes,
Member Gradwell,
yes,
Member Sargent,
Yes,
Member Materi,
Yes,
Member Gilla,
Yes,
and Member Jackson.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay. Next up is notice of intent. 0282941 24 Riggs Point Road. James and Katie Cudson, addition to a single-family house in riverfront area and buffer zone to coastal bank. John Judd, Gateway Consultants, Inc. represent.
Thank you for the last time tonight. John Judd, engineer with Gateway Consultants, representing the Knutsons for this property at 24 Riggs Point. What we're proposing is an 8-foot by 21.8 foot addition along the front of the house that exists at 24 Riggs Point Road. Thank you, Chuck, for putting that up. There's an existing deck that would be basically a portion of that would be covered with this proposed addition in the front of the house. That where the cursor is a proposed second floor spiral staircase that would be sort of a pervious opening. So that would be covering an existing deck over there, but that's on the second floor. The proposed addition is toward the road side of the house. That would be a proposed impervious over an existing deck. We do include calculations that show there is 200% mitigation plantings proposed, native salt tolerant mitigation plantings proposed to offset that proposed impervious area associated with the addition. And obviously we have erosion control and so forth around the project. We can answer any questions. I believe Jamie's on the line here if there's any specific questions that I cannot answer, but that's the project as proposed. Thank you.
Okay, first up would be the public comment period. Anybody in the public who wishes to speak for or against the project at 24 Riggs Point Road may do so by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hit *9 on your phone or handheld device.
We currently have 3 attendees and there are no hands up.
Okay, seeing none, hearing none, close public comment period. Next up would be commissioner roll call comments.
Member Carpentier,
Just one question about the increase in impervious. Did you say that part of that deck is going to be covered?
Yes.
Okay.
So the deck, you can see it extends much further out, further out toward the street. And so basically it's a portion of the existing deck would be covered by the proposed addition.
You need to see that, Linda? If you want.
No, I'm fine with that. I just wanted to know what the increase in pervious was and the mitigation in accordance with that.
So the proposed addition is 8 by 21. So that would equate to 174 square feet, and we're proposing the mitigation is 200% of that, 348.
Good. Thank you.
Member Cook,
it's really the sequence, I guess, is the addition going to be built over the existing deck, or is the existing deck going to be removed and new footings and that put in? That's the question I have.
The existing deck would be removed and this would be a spread footing.
What kind of footing?
Spread footing,
Standard
yeah,
foot.
standard spread footing.
Okay.
Member Gredwell,
No comment.
Member Sergeant,
Yeah, I believe this is riverfront and I didn't see an alternative analysis. And I would like a 2-year monitoring for the mortality of mitigation plantings.
Terry,
And no further comments.
Member Gullo,
Nothing else to add.
and Member Jackson.
I'm assuming that this is redevelopment. Okay, so we don't need an alternatives analysis, but we don't we need to consider whether this pushes it over a 10% of the lot expansion? I'm still not clear on this riverfront stuff.
Well, the-
Chuck?
That'd be for new development, or it's already going to be exceeding, but they are mitigating 2 to 1 for the expansion.
So we don't have to do the alternatives analysis, right?
Right, we
That's-
don't have to do the alternatives, but the mitigation negates anything else that we have to deal with.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then I have no further comments.
Okay. Anyone else have anything to add? Chuck, anybody? Otherwise, we'll close the hearing.
Okay. Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing for NOI 0282941 at 24 Riggs Point Road.
Charpentier seconds?
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes?
Member Cook,
Yes.
Member Gradwell,
Yes,
Member Sergeant,
Yes,
Member Terry,
Yes,
Member Bella,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes. Commissioner Jackson moves to approve NOI 0282941 at 24 Riggs Point Road with the additional with the condition that there be a 2-year monitoring for mitigation mortality.
Charpentier seconds?
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes?
Member Cook,
Yes.
Member Gradwell,
yes,
Member Sergeant,
yes,
Member Terry,
yes,
Member Bella,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
All right, we are down to the last NOI. Do we have, did a number drop for this, Chuck, or no?
It did. It is 2942.
Okay, so we have notice of intent 0282942. This is Dolliver's Neck Drive, David McPherson, to construct a garage and land subject of the coastal stamp storm flowage and buffer the coastal zone resource area. David McPherson representing himself, I think. Looks like he's here.
David, you could turn your camera and microphone on.
Hello, David. Come on down.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
How about, you want to see me? Can you do that as well?
No, we can't see you.
Looks like your camera's still off.
My camera's still off. Is there a quick way to put that on?
You look
Sorry.
on- Might-
Should be in the bottom left where it says stop or
Yeah, I
start.
see it. I see it. It has me, but it has just a plus and a minus, nothing else.
That's interesting.
Do I have to go back to the Zoom? Okay, video. How about now? There we go.
There you go.
There you are.
Hi, sorry about that. First time Zoom. I am the owner of 75 Dolliver's Neck Drive. I am also the builder.
Okay.
I'm looking, I bought this house 12 years ago with the hope that someday when my kids got out of college that I would do a second story on it. There's about 1,254 square feet, so it's very tiny. And my kids are finishing up school now, and so I'm hoping to move into this place for what's a simpler retiring life. So what's going on here is I have a FEMA line that runs through the house. The official square footage of it is 1,417 square feet with the utility space. Let me put my glasses on. 494 of that 1,400 square feet is in the VE zone. The lot size, I'll back up, the lot size is 22,000 square feet, 470 feet. And so 2,923 of that square footage is in the VE zone. Now I'm looking to build a garage in the AE zone. And I hired John Judd to do a site plan so that we could determine that I would be under that new rule of the 10% coverage. So the rest of the house turns out to be 923 square feet. And the additional square footage of the lot is 19,547 square feet. So I am proposing a garage of 784 square feet, which if you add that to the 923, you get 1,707 square feet, which is under the 1,954 square feet that would be allowed by the 10% rule. So that's what I'm here to ask for, is the garage. And also the 784-foot garage, if we multiply that times 2, we get 1,568, which is replacing with coastal plants, which is on the plan as well.
Okay. First up, I'll open up for public comment. Anybody in the public who wishes to speak for or against the project at Dolliver's Neck Drive may do so by hitting the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen or hitting *9 on your phone or handheld device.
We currently have one attendee and their hand is not up.
Okay, good. Seeing none, hearing none, I'll close the public comment period. We'll move into roll call comments from commissioners.
Member Charpentier,
No comments.
Member Cook,
No comments.
Member Gredwell,
No comment on this one.
Member Sargent,
Because the property is served by an on-site septic system, the garage must not become a habitable space without the health department issuing a formal approval. And I'd like a 2-year monitoring for the mortality of mitigation plantings.
Member Materi,
No comments.
Member Gullah,
It looks like we're losing one large tree right in the middle of the garage, correct?
So that tree, we had that drought about 3 or 4 years ago, did a number on that. I have been renting this with VRBO, and I have multiple tenants who were telling me that, well, I know because I'm the guy who picks it up, that tree was dead. I had to do an emergency haircut on it. It's not down on the ground, but I had to lose like most of the limbs because it was right where everyone would park and walk into the house. And people were scared to death of even going near it or parking their car under it. So that tree is pretty much dead.
Okay, but again, we really look at the drawing. So what I would suggest you do here is if you could mitigate by adding 2 more trees to the project of not similar size, but of local trees, that basically,
Sure.
That'd be great.
Sure.
and Member Jackson.
No additional comments.
Okay, anyone else have anything to add? With that, you want to move to close the hearing?
Yes, Commissioner Jackson moves to close the public hearing for NOI 0282942 at $75 Neck Drive.
Carpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes.
Member Gredwell,
Yes,
Member Sargent,
Yes,
Member Materi,
Yes.
Member Gullah,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes. Commissioner Jackson moves to approve NOI 0282942 at $75 Neck Drive with the additional conditions that the garage be non-habitable without Board of Health approval. There'll be a 2-year monitoring of mitigation plantings, and that there'll be an additional 2 native trees to mitigate for the loss of the dead tree.
Carpentier seconds.
Roll call, Member Charpentier,
Yes.
Member Cook,
Yes.
Member Gradwell,
yes,
Member Sargent,
Yes.
Member Viteri,
Yes.
Member Villa,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, so you're all set.
All right, thank you, board. Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you. We have those two tabled ones, Rob?
Yeah, I don't see anyone else there, so I guess they're not coming tonight.
All right, shall we just continue them to August 2nd?
There is one attendee. Who's that? So I guess there's, yeah, I guess so. Just bump them over both, I guess, Chuck.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson moves to continue RDA 1773 at 436 Washington Street to the Conservation Commission meeting of August 2nd, 2023.
Carpentier seconds,
Call Member Charpentier,
yes,
Member Cook,
yes,
Member Gradwell,
yes,
Member Sargent,
Yes.
Member Viteri,
Yes.
Member Villa,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes. Commissioner Jackson moves to continue RDA 1782 at 52 Commercial Street to the Conservation Commission meeting of August 2nd, 2023.
Carpentier seconds,
Call Member Charpentier,
yes,
Member Cook,
yes,
Member Gradwell,
yes,
and Member Sargent,
Yes.
Member Viteri,
Yes.
and Member Villa,
Yes.
Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, so next up would be certificates of compliance. We have an RCOC 0282671 53 Leonard Street. Are we ready to move that? See any problems with it, Chuck?
Nope, everything was well established out there and looked good to me.
All right. Let's move.
Okay, Commissioner Jackson moves to approve a certificate of compliance for RCOC 0282671 at 53 Leonard Street.
Carpentier seconds,
Call Member Charpentier,
yes,
Member Cook,
yes,
Member Gradwell,
yes,
Member Sargent,
Yes.
Member Viteri,
Yes. I mean, sorry, I abstain.
Member Villa,
Yes.
and Member Jackson.
Yes.
Okay.
Well
Yes,
done, Rob. After we had a rocky start. Thank you, Bill, for keeping us in line.
Peter, before you go, how do you pronounce your last name? So I don't butcher that.
Viteri.
Viteri. Okay.
Yeah, it's sort of, the end of it sounds like Charpentier, so I keep thinking you're calling on me when you're calling on Linda.
Okay, we're gonna move to close. Or anyone have anything else to chat about?
I wanted to let you guys know, I'm gonna be in a training tomorrow and out on Friday. Devin has been out sick this week, so she might be back tomorrow, but if you're planning to stop by to sign documents, maybe call first and make sure that she's actually there, or wait till next week.
You okay?
Yeah, she's, yeah.
Just a cold, nothing serious?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, move to adjourn.
second,
Roll call. Member Charpentier,
yes.
Member Cook,
yes.
Member Gradwell,
yes.
Member Sargent,
Yes.
Member Viteri,
Yes.
Member Villa,
yes,
and Member Jackson.
Yes.
all right.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
All right. So we'll see everyone in 2 weeks. Peter, it's great meeting you. If you have any questions, like I say, feel free to call, but you pretty much got the gist of it. It looked like pretty quickly. Everybody be safe and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks, Rob.